ridiculously hot still. I'm going to continue to moan about that until autumn gets here because it's far too hot for any sensible human being. But anyway, it's Friday, so welcome. If you are watching, do please pop a hello in the comments. I know there's people there. I can see the numbers lurking behind the scenes. Today's subject, an interesting one. Today's subject, secrets of witchcraft. What do you keep secret? What areas of witchcraft don't you talk about? Are there specific things that you feel you shouldn't talk about, that no one should talk about? That's it for today. Witchcraft secrets. Good morning, Emma. All good here, thank you. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Emily. Good morning, Claire. Yes, it came up this week. Someone mentioned something to me about not talking about goddesses that they work with, and I thought, that's interesting. Because there are areas of the craft that some people do keep secret. So that's the subject for today. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, husband, who's on a different level of the house. That sounds like we've got an enormous house. We have not, two levels in the loft room, like normal houses. No. Secrets. There you go. We're going to talk about secrets. We're going to talk about the things that you're not supposed to talk about, if that makes sense at all. Let's do a roundup before we start. So what have we got? We've got an autumn online ritual. We've got a winter online ritual. There is a book launch in November. There's a secret project that I've been working on being announced. What day are we today? Friday, Saturday, Monday. So keep an eye on my social media for that. Lots of bits and bobs in the Kitchen Witch online shop. Myself, Heather and Ness also do online readings. They're available in the shop as well. What else have we got? Oh, lots of stuff. MoonCon coming up in October as well, and a very fun thing coming up in December from Moon Books. Lots of stuff. Lots of online book launches over on the Moon Books Facebook and YouTube channels page is. Have a look there. But keep an eye on our what's on website pages. The words aren't working today, are they? I didn't sleep very well last night. Not a lot of sleep. Very busy day today. So words need to bring themselves together. It's not going to happen, is it? Good morning, Moena. Good morning, Susie. But yes, blue sky out there. Bright sunshine. Oh, and if you're going to work any solar magic, today is one of the days to work it. It is stinking hot out there. Good morning, David, on YouTube, because I was watching the new Peacemaker trailer. Good? Bad? Indifferent? Good morning, Dane. Right, let's say, good morning, Alison. Good morning, Susan from sunny West Sussex. Yes, sunny Hampshire too. Stupidly sunny. For someone that works with sun magic so much, I don't really like sitting out in it. It's far too warm. It was funny. Good, David. Good. Let's get this up. Let's start with this one. Emily, I've heard of people not saying anything at all about spells that they've cast. I think it's a fear that other people can undo the spell with their intention if they know about it. Yes, it is one of the traditional ones. Good morning, Tina. Good morning, Camilla. It is one of the things I was, I guess, taught early on. Once you've done your spell, leave it, forget it, walk away from it. Don't go back to it, don't think about it, don't poke it, don't photograph it, don't do anything with it. Otherwise it'll go, I think the idea is that otherwise someone can interfere with the intent of it. But as someone that puts nearly every single spell on the internet, it's never had any adverse effect for me. I think it's a case of each individual spell. Trust your intuition, whether you feel it's the right thing to do, whether you need to walk away from it, whether you need to keep a secret, whether you can share it. Trust your intuition on that. Nothing bad is going to happen to it, in my experience, if you photograph it or if you put it on the internet. I've always done that because I think witchcraft should be shared, and I think a big part of it is sharing your experiences, sharing how you work things. It's what myself, Heather and Ness do. It's what Kitchen Witch does. We share what we do because that's how people learn. And you guys share with us, and that's how we learn and continue to learn. So for me, it is about sharing those things, what you do, how you do, what you use, is all part of sharing experience. There are still the odd spells that I do behind the scenes that I don't share because that feels right and wrong to share it. I think it has to work on how you work and on each individual spell. I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you guys got experience, personal experience with that? What do you think? I've lost my. There we go. Good morning, Steve. All good, thank you. If I'm asked about my craft, genuine question, then I'll answer honestly and carefully. But the only people who really know my craft are my mum and my uncle. I think that's the other thing too, isn't it? If you get asked, "Oh, are you a witch?" you don't generally go into lots of details. I just generally say, "Yep." If they ask, continue to ask, "What is it? What do you do?" I give a kind of general description. I think there are some things that some people are in the closet still completely, some keep it quite private. Obviously, I'm kind of out there. There is no secret about it. Has to work for you. Has to work for you. David. This is spells. That was so you don't start messing with it, like poking a loose tooth. Yes. Or thinking you should have done this or that and then start messing with things. I do think if you've worked a spell, leave it. It will do its thing. I do photograph it and I do take notes. I think it's very important to take notes when you work in spell. I do put the spell details out there so people can give it a go if they want to. But don't poke the spell. Don't keep going back to it and prodding it, poking it. Sometimes, if it's been sitting there on your altar working for a week and you might feel it needs a bit of an energy boost, you can recharge it. But yes, generally, once your spell is done, let it do its thing, in my experience. Good morning, Nicola. Good morning, Lani. Congratulations to Zoe on her exam results. Good morning, Amy. Hi, Amy. Good morning, Karen. Tina, how does it work when spells are put in books as well as the internet? Are they not put there to also be added to or changed by the person? Yes, and yes. I think if you are looking for inspiration for a spell, books, internet, obviously, I've written books with spells in. I've written blog posts with spells in. We've got spells on the Kitchen Witch blog and on the Kitchen Witch YouTube. They're all there for inspiration, I think. And if you take a spell as the structure that someone else has written, brilliant. Inspiration, ideas, most of the work done for you. But always tweak it. Make it personal. Add in ingredients that you've got to replace ones that you might not have there in the spell. Change the wording slightly so that it is personal to you. Tweaking that spell will make it stronger and more powerful because you've added your energy to it. So yes, absolutely. I think witchcraft should be shared. We all need to start somewhere. We all need inspiration sometimes. So yes, spells in books or on the internet, very good starting points, but always tweak them because it makes it personal. Karen, topic today is secrets in witchcraft. What parts of your practice would you keep secret, and why? That's for today. That's the theme. Debbie. Knowledge is not gained unless it is passed on. Oh, absolutely. Like all oratory traditions, if it is not told, it fades away over time. Absolutely. Susie, I think you need to be circumspect with whom you share spell details. You focus and concentrate energies to charge it, so why then scatter the energy by sharing on Facebook to the thousands? Entirely your personal view, and if that's how you feel, brilliant. I share it because I like to teach. I like to share. I like to show people how I've done things, why I've done things. For me, that's a big part of it, is sharing it. Someone else is then going to go and take it and work it. Brilliant, if it works for them. Does the energy share when it's on Facebook? I don't think so, personally. It's my spell in my house, in my area. All I'm sharing is a photo of it or the details. And quite often I share that after the spell's actually been done, finished, completed. Personal choice, personal views. There's no right or wrong here, people. No right or wrong. Good morning, Monique. Good morning, Stella. Steve, I use the Witch's Pyramid as a guideline. I would explain a spell to someone, but when I do a spell, I keep it silent. Good guidelines. To will, to know, to dare, to keep silent. Yeah. As I say, if I work a spell, generally I work it, take some photos, make some notes. By the time I put it on the internet to share what I've done, the spell's worked. It's done its thing. Again, personal choice. Has to be. David, I feel books and other spells are like recipes. Yes, cook to your taste, make it more potent. Absolutely. Add a bit more seasoning, chuck some more garlic in. Yeah, you've got to make it your own. You've got to make it personal. Jane. Well said, Debbie. Our craft is like people. As long as they are remembered and talked about, they live on. Yes. Absolutely yes. Monique, without you sharing how can all of us learn? Very grateful you are. Oh, bless you. I think it is. For me, it's a big part of it. I'll share my mistakes too. And there's been some doozies. But that's how we all learn. Talking here this morning, there'll be ideas from both sides. Usually more than two sides. But that's how we learn. We learn from each other. And someone will suggest something and we'll think, oh, I've not tried that. Let's try that. That's, for me, a big part of how your practice grows. Inspiration from others, knowledge and experience from others added to what you're working so that you can give it a try. Might work for you, might not. The only way to hone your practice is to try it. But take inspiration from everyone. Nothing's brand new, is it? It's all been done before. It's just a case of being inspired by that and making it your own. But the only way we are going to do that is to learn from each other, which is why we at Kitchen Witch share as much as we possibly can, because that's how we all grow, I think. Tina, maybe keep my personal book Shadows content a secret. Yes, I do agree on that one. I think your book of shadows, your grimoire, whatever you might call it, your journal, that's a personal thing. That is a personal thing. I've showed my old original book of shadows, Big Lee Rutschfile. I've showed kind of, this is my book of shadows, but not really the content. Although the content's probably quite outdated now because I don't update it regularly. Most of my book of shadows, my grimoire, is kind of online now. It's more in video form, I think, than anything else. But yes, I do agree with that. I think your book of shadows, your grimoire, is kind of a personal thing. So yeah, that's one I think to keep secret. Karen, keep my shadow work to myself. That's way too personal to share. Oh, that's deep stuff, isn't it? That's deep stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Susie, think there's a difference between sharing academic principles of spells and sharing the details of something that's currently active? I think we might differ there, Susie. For me, it is taking people along the journey with me. So I will obviously, there are principles of spell working on my blog, in my books. We teach it on the school. But if I'm working something, then I share it because for me, it's about sharing with the community. I've never had any issues with it dispersing the energy, never had any problems with it not working. But again, it has to work for you. It has to be a personal thing. Good morning, Lucky Fairy Queen. Jane, I found from experience that magic works better if it's done behind the scenes with pure intent and humility. Shouting about it will dilute its power and ruin it. Let's face it, spellcasting was illegal. Well, yes, till 1951. People got used to keeping it quiet. Again, personal choice has to be. And I say there are some spells that I do work quietly behind the scenes. It's about feeling whether the spell is right for that or not. David, oddly, my practice is still very private. I never tell anyone, even my partner, when I'm casting, how my, which is weird knowing me. People would have thought I'd be more open. Again, personal choice. Absolutely personal choice. And I think but the evidence of my works are for all to see. The results, absolutely. I think it has to be personal, and it will depend on the spell. Absolutely will depend on the spell, the type of spell. It's interesting, actually, isn't it? When you think about Wicca, which was 1940s-ish, when it kind of began its whole thing, it was all private then. It was all secret. It was all behind closed doors. To belong to a coven, you had to be invited. Everything that you learnt was face-to-face. It was all private. It was all done in secret. None of it was ever talked about outside of the coven. And that went on for quite a long time. Eventually, books started coming out. Some of them were fiction first to kind of cover it. But eventually, the books started coming out. And of course, internet has just exploded and opened everything up. So that it's everywhere. All of the information at our fingertips. I think possibly if you are a Gardnerian or an Alexandrian witch, there are still a lot of secrets about initiations and your practices behind closed doors. Absolutely fine. That's part of the tradition. And it always was secret. And there are some covens. Ness, Heather and I do rituals and works and magic behind closed doors. When we were up on Dartmoor, we did a little ritual and spell up on Dartmoor. No pictures, no information. That was... So if you've got a coven, if you've got a close group of people, then quite often that stuff is kept secret, it's kept quiet. Again, choice. All about choice, I think. Jane. I suppose if a group of witches gathered on a hilltop with brooms and rain sticks to summon a storm, it wouldn't exactly be behind the scenes. No, it would be fairly out there, wouldn't it? The other thing I was thinking about, well, it started because someone said to me this week, they don't talk about the goddess that they work with. Don't talk about any of their personal goddess connections, how they work with them or who they're working with. Which is, I hadn't heard that before, I must admit. Again, personal choice, no judgment made, ever. I talk about mine all the time. Again, for me, it's a learning kind of thing. This is what I do. I mean, I wrote a book about the Kalak. I wrote a book about Sulis and how I work with them, how I connect with them. Haven't written about Balanus yet. Too many books. I'm writing about Minerva at the moment. It is, I don't know, it works for me to share what I'm doing. But I'd never come across this before, which was quite unusual, I think. Usually when it's folk that go out and give talks and that are quite, high profile, I don't want to call them that, people that are out there. Usually when you have a chat with someone and they'll say, oh yeah, I work with Hecate or whoever it is. I'd not heard it before about keeping that private, which is interesting. That's quite interesting because then I guess it does keep it very, very much personal to you because no one outside will know who you work with and how you work with it. That's actually quite special. I think that's quite nice. I mean, obviously I don't share my inner moments with the deities that I connect with. I don't share my conversations or that kind of thing. I do share my general practice, how I connect with them, maybe offerings and that kind of thing. The personal stuff that I connect with them for, I don't share. I just thought that was quite interesting. I hadn't heard that one before. David Gods, I remember that back then there was only so far you could find about witchcraft unless you know a coven and they trusted you. Yes, and you had to be invited in. It was a bit like, I don't know, but being a gang member or something, I think. You had to be recommended by someone, kind of references and things. Karen, I'm happy to talk about my practice with anyone that asks, but I find that what do you do question just so vague. Yes, don't know where to start. If it is someone that doesn't know anything about witchcraft, I generally don't mention the W word first. I generally start with pagan because people are vaguely familiar with that. And then you usually get the, oh, are you a white witch then? To which, I often say, yeah, because it's just easier. Not white at all. I start with the pagan thing, but then I usually say it's all to do with nature. We connect with nature, we live in harmony with the seasons, we look after the planet and everything on it, and kind of finish it there. Because, that makes life a bit easier. So, yes, that was the deity thing was interesting. I don't know what you guys think about that. The other thing I thought of was magical craft names. Lots of people keep their craft name secret. Lots of people use it in public rather than their given name. Originally, my craft name came around, 20 odd years ago. And I used it from that point, Tansy Fire Dragon. And it's still with me. I don't use it very much anymore. I used to use it all the time. Kind of, I don't know, something changed. I don't know what it was, but something changed. Probably, I think, the real flick of the switch was when I wrote my first book back in 2012. And I had to put a name on the cover. And there was a bit of a dilemma as to whether I used my craft name or my real name. And that was the kind of turning point, I think. I decided to go with my real name. And from then on, I used my craft name less and less. Still there, still floating about, but I do use it less and less. But it was out there. Everyone knew what my craft name was. However, I have also done some Avalonian training. And part of that is to find or to be given a craft name that you never share. So I do have a secret craft name for when I'm working Avalonian magic. And that's the only time I ever use that craft name, and no one but me knows what it is. There is something very magical and very, very special about that too, keeping that a secret. Somehow it works. White witch, but with a bit of extra colour. Well, I do like colour, obviously. But yeah, white witch with a dash of black, just to make that kind of charcoal, muddy grey colour. David thinks that's why I'm so thankful for Vivian and Chris Crowley. They were the first witches I met. Fantastic. Very interesting people. Debbie, if you don't share general experience you have had with your guides, gods, goddesses, then others aren't able to compare their experiences. Personal experiences, I feel, should remain private. Yes. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? If you are new to the craft and you start hearing voices, either you'll just think you're completely bonkers or that you're imagining it. And that's actually one of the questions that I've been asked quite a lot. How do you know if it's the god or the goddess talking to you? And by sharing my personal experiences, people will then realise that they're perhaps not as bonkers as they thought they were. And then actually that's what's happening with them as well. So yes, I think the general experiences all help everyone to learn. It's all part of the process, I think. But don't talk about them. Here comes the tea. Thank you.
Ooh.
Did you bring the dog anything? Bet you didn't.
No. I gave a little pat on the head.
Pat on the head. The dog is up here. He's fast asleep on the bed. Not normally allowed on the bed, are you? He's quite happy.
A bit like me.
But, yeah, get back in your dog house.
Bye.
Yeah, I think sharing your experiences helps you understand that you're not alone, that these experiences are normal, for want of a better word. But again, it has to be, I wouldn't share that inner stuff. Oh, the goddess and I had a really long chat last night and she told me to do this, this, and this. I'm not going to share that with everybody. Jane, sometimes being upfront about being a witch gets people's backs up. So I start by telling them it's about healing. Yeah, that's a good one. That covers all sorts of fixing. If they want to know more, I'll invite them to our moot so they can get a general idea that we all have different ways of practicing. Yes, because the word witch still scares people sometimes, doesn't it? Although what I've generally found is that people just laugh because they don't think it's real. But hey, yeah. I think perhaps from the secrets point of view, I am slightly, perhaps not the right person to be talking about keeping things under your hat, because I don't. Because I am a teacher. Part of my whole role is sharing, because that's important to me, to share what I learn and how I work things. That's not going to work for everybody. Not everybody sits on YouTube and waffles and talks about loads of stuff. So it's not going to work for everyone. So I'm perhaps in a slightly different position to a lot of folk. Lani. I think sometimes we grow and change. We discover a new direction of our path, which can mean that changes are made, including our craft magical name. Yes, very good point. Very good point. In actual fact, when we originally at Kitchen Witch, myself, Heather and Ness all used our craft names. That's what we were known by on the forum, on the blog, anything that we dealt with, that's what. But none of us use their magical names within the witchcraft world these days. It just seemed to fall away somehow. We have our personas, our cartoon personas on the website. But yeah, it changed. But then your pathways change, don't they? My pathway hasn't been a straight line. It's been like a whole roller coaster thing. It's all up and down. Yeah, things change. Your pathway changes, absolutely. Good morning, Trudy. Oh, 99 miles to go to home. Safe journey. David, craft name. I get asked, how do you choose one or get given it? I'm not sure it matters to me now. Choosing it yourself is making a dedication. Getting given one by divinity, all good. That's an interesting point, because there are various different ways. In one of the covens I used to belong to originally, a million years ago, once you got to past the third degree, the high priestess would give you your craft name or part of your craft name, which was interesting. Mine came to me in various ways. The Tansy bit was from, gosh, our daughter was tiny, so yeah, well over 20 years ago now. We went to Fishbourne Roman Palace. They had a Celtic day, and everyone was dressing up as Celts, and there was all sorts of woad painting going on, and there was a lady there making food, and one of the things she was making was tansy pudding. And I've always loved herbs, and I've always loved plants, and I've always loved cooking and puddings. And she gave me this recipe sheet, and tansy was in quite a lot of things. And that it rang a bell, kind of bing. So that became that. Dragons I have worked with since I was a child, and a fire dragon in particular has been with me since I was a child. So that just fell into place, Tansy Fire Dragon, and that's what it's always been. My secret name, very different. But yes, you can meditate to get it. You can just do research and see what jumps out at you, what resonates with you. You can ask deity to gift you with the name. Lots of different ways. You'll know when it feels right. Jane, I learned to keep things under my big pointy hat when I was an Avon rep for 35 years. In a small community, everyone knows everyone, and they bitched about each other to me, so I just had to zip it and stay on the fence. This was a great foundation for keeping secrets. Yes, I think perhaps, do we all learn the hard way that gossip is a killer, an absolute killer? Yeah. I go by the old saying, if you are sitting there with a group of people and they are gossiping about someone that's not there, think about what happens when you're not there. And that I learned the hard way. I did learn the hard way. And there are some very toxic groups that do draw you in with that. But that's gossip. That's a whole other thing, I guess. But I think there are parts that is having a bit of it secret, is having a secret magical name. Does that make it feel more special somehow? I know it does with my Avalonian work. There is something special about only me and the divine knowing about that name. Spell working, I think, for me is different. because I talk about a lot of stuff. I give talks at events. I write books about things. We do all the videos, royal we. Heather and Ness do all the videos on Kitchen Witch YouTube and blogs. We write about what we do because that's what we do. But there is the other thing. Bear in mind that this knowledge it's all general. It's all available for everyone to share. Don't steal it. We've noticed a little bit of this in the last couple of years. We'll be giving a talk and quite a few people take notes at the talks. Brilliant. Love it. Fantastic. And people will be scribbling away and asking questions at the end, and it's fantastic. It means that people are engaging with you. But we've then noticed that we might then see or hear our talk given by someone else at another event. So bear in mind that the knowledge is all out there to share. But if you are going to talk about it or write about it, work with it yourself first. Put it together yourself. Don't plagiarize it from other people. Just saying. But it is. Essentially, at the core of it, all of the witchcraft cores practices, there's a base structure that we all work from. And then people add their own spins to it. What you do behind closed doors, entirely up to you. And if it works for you, brilliant. Are there any other areas you think of witchcraft that should be secret? It's very hay fevery today. Are there any other areas that you think, perhaps they should be? Is it perhaps like if you work with tarot deck or or runes, do you let other people touch it? Is that a keeping secret thing as well? Don't know. Could be an aspect of it. Camilla, are you able to share what your witchcraft names are? Tansy Fire Dragon is my craft name. That is my official craft name. That is the name on all of my Wicca certificates for first, second, third degrees, and my High Priestess certificate is Tansy Fire Dragon. It is how I was initiated at Stonehenge as Tansy Fire Dragon. It was how I was gifted my High Priestess name at Knowlton. My name on all the certificates is Tansy Fire Dragon. From quite a lot of the things I did, my Reiki is all in my real name, but most of my witchcraft certificates and courses and things are all in my craft name, just because that happens to be where I was at the time. But it is personal, absolutely personal. David, the thing about names is the belief that names give someone power over you. Yes, I guess that's where it comes from, doesn't it? That is fairy world stuff, isn't it? Don't tell the fairy your name, or find a fairy's name and then you've got power over them. Yes, I think that probably is a part of it, isn't it? It's about giving away that power, giving away that control. Jane, got my craft name from the first place I experienced magic at the age of 5. Treedarp. I was going to say that's Bodmin, isn't it? Yes, in the middle of Bodmin Moor. Beautiful place. Beautiful magical place. I added Whitlock later on when I developed a white lily monster streak in my hair. Treedarp. Yeah, I got a few more of those. Sounds like something out of medieval cave. Love it. But it's personal. It means something to you. And I think that's important. That's very important. Camilla, never, ever apologise for asking questions. Never. Yes, as David says, never apologise for asking a question. Debbie, I was given a name by a very spiritual person who I randomly met only once many years ago. Turned out to be a very apt description of how I've morphed over the years. It's a name I don't share. Fabulous. I think that's quite, if you feel it's right and it fits, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And again, personal, if you share or don't share, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. All questions are good. They are. Claire, maybe think protected more than secret. Yes, that's an interesting way of looking at it, isn't it? That's protection. That's keeping a part of your spiritual practice protected. Yeah, I like that. Protection rather than secret. Yeah, it's interesting. I can have some tea. It's going to be a bit hot, isn't it? Lucky Fairy Queen. I have a name that rings in my head. Not sure if it's my craft name, though. It is Athea. Came to me in a meditation randomly. Guess I should use it. Only if it feels right. Live with it for a bit. Sit with a bit. Live with it for a bit. Sit with it for a bit and see if it feels right. Bear in mind, you don't need a craft name. And I've been on the pagan witchcraft pathway for many years. Oh, scary how time goes, isn't it? Probably coming up for 35 years now. But I've only had a craft name for about 22 of those years. 21, 22 of those years. So there was a good number of years that I didn't have a craft name. I didn't feel bereft or, floating about with no name. It wasn't a problem. So go with it. Trust your intuition, definitely. Emma is crocheting a goddess. Emma, your goddess that you poppet that you are crocheting looks fabulous. Yeah, I think is it a bit like, it's like the Masons, isn't it? They have lots of secrets. What's the saying? Get this right. Masons isn't a group of secrets. It's a group with secrets, or I don't know, something complicated. There are some things perhaps that are more special because they are kept secret. Does it make you feel more important? I don't know if your coven does secret stuff that's not out there. But if we didn't have someone going out there and saying, hey, this is how we perform a ritual. Let's all do the group ritual. Let's share it with everyone. Nobody would be doing open rituals. Just saying. But it has to feel right for you, definitely. I'm just thinking about what other areas there are. Do you keep your magical tools secret? I don't work with an awful lot of them. Charcoal and burning stuff in the cauldron. What areas have we got? Particular chants? Are there things that you work with, perhaps directly with the goddesses or the god, that you don't share with other people? I don't think I've got any of those because I do share what I do. I do share what I do in my writing and in my talks because that's part of who I am. Does it water it down? I think that's been the suggestion, really, doesn't it? For me, no, I don't think it does, because for me, sharing it builds the power. We're all here this morning talking about all of this stuff. This is a community, and the energy of this comes from the community. So my magic and my pathway is shared with the community, and for me, that makes it stronger. But again, that might not work for everyone. There you go. There's going to be a bit of barking. Are you sharing all the secrets now with the other dogs? Yeah, that's what he's doing. Rude. I wonder what they're saying. David, you're so right. Demon will not give you power over it by telling you its name. No, very true. But if there's a benevolent spirit living there, they'll be only too happy to dob the demon in so you can get rid of it. But yeah. You can't trust demons, really, can you? Let's be fair. Karen, I have quite a large altar in my open plan house, so any visitors see that in all its glory. Actually, that's another thing, isn't it? Altars. I quite often take pictures of my altars because I think you learn again from people. Oh, I didn't think of putting that on my altar. Oh, what a nice layout. Or, oh, that's a good place to put it. Again, sharing. But I do have one or two little altars that I don't take photos of, that I don't share because they are mine. But they can be secret too. Altar doesn't have to be a huge, great big ornate table dripping in velvet and draped with cloths and big candelabras. And it doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be obviously in your face, an altar. An altar can just be a vase of flowers on your kitchen windowsill. Add a little crystal maybe at the bottom of it. That's an altar. So if you are in the closet still, then an altar can be kept very secret. You can either have a setup, quite a good idea, is to have a tray and put your altar bits on the tray, put the tray in the cupboard, close the doors, and then it's out of sight. You can bring it out when you want to. But you can just have them in plain sight. Vases of flowers, bowls of crystals, all very, most houses have them kind of thing. Doesn't have to be obviously an altar. A lot of houses have got candles. Who's to say it's an altar or just a windowsill with some nice things on it? Maybe if you've got your naked statue of Herne the Hunter or Pan standing there in all his glory with his horns, might be a little bit of a giveaway. And all your pentacles. And all your pentacles hanging in all the glory might be a little bit obvious, definitely not secret. But there are ways of having secret altars about the house or even the garden, just by keeping it toned down and with regular items on that are magical. Because everything's magical, let's face it. So altars can definitely be kept secret. Tebby is telling the other dog to be quiet. We have a chap a couple of doors down, a lovely couple. They've got a very, very barky dog. He's always happy, but always barking. So him and Eric have a bit of a chat every so often. Not that the ferocious beast looks ferocious at the minute. He's laying Sparko upside down on the bed. So, good morning, Eve. We're talking secrets today, Eve. Witchcraft secrets. What do you keep secret? What don't you? Why do you keep things secret? Karen, my altar currently has tomatoes from the garden amongst other things on it to give thanks for the harvest. Perfect. Again, a bowl of fresh fruit, a bowl of fresh vegetables, a bowl of stuff from the garden. Doesn't look like an altar, but only you know. Candy and Keith. The only thing I keep secret is that I work with dragons. They gave me my secret name, but now you've told everyone. Shh, we won't tell. Actually, I guess I didn't really talk about my dragon work for quite a number of years. Yeah, it was quite dragon energy's been with me since I was a child. Never really spoke about it openly or how I worked with it until a few years ago. So yeah, maybe there are things like dragon, maybe even fairy magic, some parts of it that should be kept secret because it's a secret world. Maybe, don't know, just thinking out loud. David, altars. I now have 4 of them in the house. They do multiply. They do. You can't just have one. You go to sleep and the next morning 15 of them popped up. Yeah, 1 in the garden. Yes, no, my mistake. 2 really, and no one seems to notice them. I found that if you just kind of just start one gently, just keep adding to it, no one says anything. Jane, we were burgled while on holiday 20 odd years ago. They took my athame off the altar. Dagger, same as the one on Jason Mankey's book. Okay. But something made them leave it in the back garden as they made off with everything else. Interesting. I cleansed and reconsecrated it because I couldn't bear to part with it. I wonder what the burglars thought of my room full of witchy stuff and my daughter's room full of police uniform and Hendon photos. Yeah, that's quite an interesting mix. Maybe that's why they dropped the dagger. Realization that they've messed with someone that they perhaps shouldn't have done. Steve, at pagan events with like-minded people, I share ideas and learn ideas. In the real world, when I'm asked about what I do, I check the person is interested or having a mocking intention. Yes, you do. You have to test the water, don't you? You have to gauge who it is that you are talking to. Definitely. Eve, no secrets here, I'm afraid. Oof, don't be afraid. Pentagram at front door carries on through the home, altars in every room. Brilliant. Karen, I suppose there's also a difference between keeping things secret from everyone and keeping things secret from non-pagans witches. At camps, I'm more likely to share. Yes, I guess so, because you're talking to people that understand. When you have a conversation with non-magical folk, a lot of what you say is not going to make any sense or make you sound like you're totally bonkers. And I think the conversations that we then have when we're at witch camps, pagan camps, just have conversations about talking to animals and trees, and no one bats an eyelid. it's quite whatever the word is, it's gone out of my head. It'll come to me. It's nice being open like that. The word's gone. Claire, I once had a 2-foot statue on my altar. Didn't offer any explanation. I think they just thought I had bad taste. Well, I've seen some pretty interesting altars in my time. I don't know. Is it important? Is it important to keep stuff secret? I think there is. There's the personal stuff, definitely. Don't we all though? Perhaps. I mean, pretty much the persona you get here is me. There's not much that I keep secret. I have my good days. I have my bad days. I have my really grumpy days. You don't get to see the really grumpy days. But pretty much what you see with myself and the Kitchen Witch Girls is how we are. I know some people do have stage presence, don't they, or stage personas. But yeah, perhaps with social media as well, it's very easy to be someone different online than you are in person. Does that work with magic as well, though? I think, yeah, we have these personal connections, particularly if you work with deity, you have a personal connection. And that connection to deity is very, very personal to you. It's very special and unique to how you work with that deity. Should you blab about everything you've talked about the deity? No, I don't think so, because that's personal and private between you and them. Who I talk to, deity-wise, who I work with, that to me is not private. I absolutely share that. Don't have an issue with that at all. My magical name I share, but I do have the secret one. So there's balance. All of my magical practice I share generally because it's about learning, but it's not going to work for everyone. Debbie, I think there's an inherent feeling amongst many to guard, shield their practice from non-practitioners that have come down through the ages. Yes, perhaps it is that gene within us that keeps us protected so that we're not burnt at the stake, or tortured or whatever it might be. David, made the mistake of telling someone not into magic about meeting a dragon. That conversation could have been avoided if I kept that to myself. Yeah, not everyone understands working with dragons. There's a lot of magical folk that don't understand. It's quite a different energy, isn't it? It's quite a specialised thing. Wouldn't be without it, but yes. Liberating. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Tina. Can be quite liberating being able to chat with witches, pagans rather than non-witches. It's a different energy, isn't it? It's a different scenario completely. Yes, it's lovely. Monique, we are the same as Eve. The house has been named Hedgewitch Cottage. Love it. And we have a pentacle hanging in the kitchen window. We have found most people are intrigued about why we're interested in it. Excellent. Yes, whenever sort of builders or people come into the house, you think, don't mind the broomstick. Don't mind all the dead animal bones that are out on the altar. It's all fine. Jane, it's frustrating belonging to a large extended family where absolutely no one is pagan or witch. I'm the only pagan witch in my family. Thankfully, my son has moved in with his girlfriend who teaches bushcraft. Interesting. Has an apothecary and makes her own everything. Brilliant. We can talk freely about it all. It's so refreshing and it's lovely to be able to swap preserves and potions. I am the only one in my family too. My kids have grown up with it. My husband's obviously spent 33 years watching me do it. They kind of accept that it's just the stuff that I do. But yeah, I'm the only pagan witch. So yeah, family gatherings, you have to remember to, no one's going to understand what you're talking about. So yeah, different conversations have to be normal, which is weird. I hadn't really thought about the whole keeping being a witch a secret. When I was running this through my head, I had magical names, magical practices, spell working with deity. I hadn't thought about actually being a witch. I guess because it is so ingrained with who I am and what I do now that I don't think about it. But that's interesting because, yes, you don't walk up to people in the street and say, "Hi, I'm a witch." Yeah, so I guess that's the biggest secret of all, really, when you're out and about in regular life, not telling people that you're a witch. Yeah, biggest secret of what's normal, Monique. I know, yeah, that's exactly it, isn't it? Yeah, I guess that's the biggest secret of all, and I hadn't really thought about it from that point of view. Biggest secret of all. Although, I've only got to look at my Facebook page to know who I am. But, you go shopping or you go to a cafe and the person serving you is not going to know you're a witch, are they? I mean, it depends, I guess, what you're wearing. Not really traditional witch attire, is it? I probably don't look like a witch, whatever a witch looks like. So not obviously. I mean, I've got my wild boar crystal necklace on and my wild boar bracelet, and I've got a goddess bracelet on, and my tattoos, I suppose, they're all spiritual, they're all part of my spiritual journey. But from outwardly just looking, you'd probably think there's an old bint in a bright colour. What does she think she's doing dressing like that? It's not, you wouldn't go, "Oh, there's a witch." If I had a long black dress on and lots of silver pentacles and stuff, I guess you might think she's a bit weird. Yeah, biggest secret of all, I guess, is that one. Should it be? I don't know. People don't announce. You don't walk into a room full of people and chat, and, "Oh, hello, yes, I'm Jewish," or "Yes, I'm Christian." That doesn't happen, does it? You don't go in and go, "Actually, I'm a witch." Doesn't really. It's not the first thing you say, is it? David, around here, the amount of witches living locally. There's next door, my neighbour behind me. There's 3 living down the road from me, and my partner who lives 30 seconds from me. Is that like one of those portals that's just drawing all of the witches in? We're all going to end up living next door to you. Be fun. Karen, a witch looks just like that reflection in the mirror. Yeah, Hollywood witches. That's it, isn't it? I'm just thinking they're saying, what does a witch look like? Is it because you get that kind of stereotypical idea in your head that witches have to wear black, that they're dripping in crystals, and forget the pointy hats. That is just fancy dress. But although I do like a hat, like a top hat, really. But yeah, I guess if you ask anyone what a modern witch looks like, they're probably going to say long black dress, because they will go to the female witch first. Always. Guarantee it. Long hair, probably. Leaning, I guess, more towards the goth side of things. Because Hollywood, because Disney. I'm more like, I just realised I'm more like Minerva, the cartoon witch in the Disney Sword in the Stone. That's who I look like. That's a realisation. That's who I look like. Having the battle with Merlin. That's me. I'll take that. Debbie, what's the norm? Those that honour the natural world and care for it, or those that race through life ignoring what goes on around them? Oh, yeah. Stop and watch, people. Stop and listen. Yeah, you do want to say it, don't you? Jane, which can look like a postman, lady on the checkout, dentist, you name it. Oh, yes, absolutely. Emma, do I keep my goddess puppet a secret, or should I share it and link to the pattern for others so they can make their own? I think I'll share it. That is a wonderful idea, Emma. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you for that. Emma has crocheted a little puppet and she's gorgeous. That would be wonderful. It would be far too complicated for me. I can crochet doilies. That's it. But I'm sure there would be lots of people that would be very pleased to have that. Ask the puppet. Yeah. Oh, that'd be good to share. Yes, Claire. Well, they thought you said the B word. Yeah. It is, isn't it? It is that whole Hollywood, Disney have put that idea. But I guess the idea of keeping it a secret, I guess the idea of not stating it goes back to the dark times, the whole witchcraft trials. Although, to be fair, they weren't witches like we are. Most of them weren't witches at all. Even the ones that did practice some kind of folk magic would not have called themselves witch, not in those days. They would have been cunning folk. They wouldn't have used the W word anyway. But most of the people in the witchcraft trials weren't anything to do with it. They were just people that had red hair or freckles or a mole, or someone wanted your land, basically. Or just a single woman that happened to heal people. So, yeah, not a lot of witches involved in that, actually. But is that why we keep it secret now? You keep it under your hat because there's still that echo of fear there. But as I said, I've been very lucky. I haven't actually met with any negative or any hate, just laughter and disbelief that being a witch is actually a real thing. So generally, you keep it shut because it's not worth it. It's not worth all the explanation and the grief. Debbie, I was always called Morticia by one of my bosses. Hopefully that was a compliment because, I mean, she's gorgeous. She's definitely gorgeous. I'd take that as a compliment. Jane, coming out the broom closet can jeopardise people's jobs, public image or whatever. Can be fun to have a secret life. Yeah, I think it's becoming more acceptable now. When I used to work in an office, and for most of my career, I have worked in an office in a smart suit. Didn't get my first tattoo till I was 31, but I was in an office then, so I kept it so that my tattoos were under my suit. I think these days it is far more acceptable to have tattoos. So I'm hoping that being a pagan is far more acceptable these days as well. But I think you have to pick your battles, as they say, don't they? Debbie, back in the day, they were normal, everyday people, many of whom were healers. Yes, absolutely. Eve, before I retired, my 2 male bosses called me the witch, and that's how I was introduced to new people. Excellent. Yeah, if it, let's just, I'll take that. I'll take that, run with it. Brilliant. Interesting, very interesting. Yes, thank you for that, people. There were areas that I hadn't really thought about then. There's no right or wrong here. If you want to keep your practice secret, do it. If you want to keep your spell working secret, do it. If you want to put it on the internet, in my experience, it's never, ever had any issues for me. But trust your intuition. Trust your intuition on how you feel about it and on the type of spell as well. Has to be your call, absolutely. But I think any of it. If you've got a magical name and you want to keep it secret, brilliant. Again, personal choice. But I think we've moved forward such a huge amount to the point where we can do this, where we can talk about it on the internet. We can read books about it. There are TV programs, there are films about it. The information is out there. And let me tell you, as someone coming from learning way before the internet, trying to find books and information on witchcraft was darn near impossible. This So much better. So much better. For me, it is sharing. Witchcraft is a community. Being witches is a community. Witchcraft is a magical practice to share. For me, not going to work for everyone. It works for me. Susan once called an old witch. I said I objected to the old. I was called a crone recently, and my initial reaction was to go, what? I'm beginning to accept it. But there you go. Thank you to everyone for being a part of this community. It's an absolute pleasure to share experiences, knowledge, and how we do things with you every week. Hopefully you learn something. I know I always do. For me, it's all about sharing. So brilliant. Thank you, everyone. And enjoy your secrets. And I'll see you all again next time. Take care, everyone.